Shalom and bracha. Let's talk a bit further about Pesach. The word Pesach means Pesach. The mouth should do a lot of talking, a lot of speaking. One of the first highlights of the Seder night is the 4 questions that the child asks. But we have to start thinking now about training the children to learn how to think, not just rattling things off by heart and getting a sweet at the end. That's important, but it's not the tachlis. Stop for a moment and think. What is the average day of a child? The average kid wakes up in the morning. Hopefully he'll say brochas, wash negelas, he goes to school, comes home, does the homework, might get a chance to say hello to his parents, maybe you'll eat together, very good. And then maybe there's some chesed that he's doing. But this is every day, day in, day out. If you record the daily life from the moment a child gets up till he goes to sleep, and then you play it back, chances are very good that we will hear very little that's related to any real spiritual striving. Most of what we talk about will revolve around material, about empty things and stuff that goes on in school. And if we take a longer view, a week, a month, a year, where does Amunah fit into the picture? I am a Rav of a shul, a shtibel, and I have sweet Jews davening by me. And I can see certain kids are on fire. They love to daven. Others, it's not their fault. Because the program isn't there for them. We can't be satisfied with an occasional word at home about the foundations of Yiddishkeit, or just maybe a few minutes at the Shabbos table. That's not going to make it. There's no doubt that most parents are very busy. I get that. And they're distracted, especially in large families where there are many needs to provide for the kids, and there may be a very difficult child which brings in more, he needs more attention. But does this justify raising a child who at the age of 12 or 14 has no true spiritual nourishment? He's just not, you could tell it, see it in his eyes. This is not, yeah, he'll do well in his test, but this isn't what it's about for him. Most parents rely on school, yeshiva, seminary as they get older, to do all this work of instilling in our children the essential spiritual nourishment. And although most teachers do excellent jobs, our child may be only one of 30 in that class. And the amount of nourishment they can receive is not always enough to sustain them. Not every kid can work in a classroom. Principles of faith, aspects other than that of personal growth, won't be absorbed in the optimal way in such a setting. It just doesn't happen. How many kids we throw under the bus, we just can't do it. We don't have the structure for that. So what do we do with those kids? A small degree of essential panemius can definitely enter a child's heart through school. I'm not saying that. But it's not enough to provide only a small percentage of what that child needs. Just like we wouldn't want that a youngster should go around being malnourished in a physical way, we should also definitely not want them to be malnourished spiritually. What we have to figure out is a way to incorporate another goal along with all the other goals and things that we teach our children. We want to raise them in a way that they will become thinkers, used to dealing with the inner fundamentals of Jewishness as a people, as a whole, and the purpose of the individuality and who they are, and find this way of growing organically into a yid, that the future is safe in their hands. We can't exclude anybody. I'm sure everyone agrees with this goal, and that teaching our children to think about faith, we all know that this is an obligation for every Jewish parent. But in reality, it has no place in ordinary life. That's just the way it goes, and it's wrong. It's essential to keep in mind that we're raising the next generation of Klal Yisrael. So we have to ensure that our kids have an inner depth by encouraging them to think and by introducing a deeper dimension into their lives. It's not enough to get superficial answers and just sleepwalk through your davening and your doing mitzvahs. This is not going to inflame the hearts of a child. This is not going to encourage our child to think for himself and to ask questions. The 4 questions are there in the Seder, but we're talking about the 4 questions from their heart. And the kids have these questions. I work with children. I have shiurim over the phone. I could tell you, they have amazing minds. They really deserve to be able to grow. And we have to encourage this. We have to encourage them to ask questions and to seek answers. We also have to teach our young to open up a sefer, to look at the holy book. Today, especially, we have in English so much beautiful Torah being printed, and much of it is geared for it's not taxing, but fundamentals. Find a mentor for your child. If you can, there are parents who find that they get nervous, that it's not, perhaps they didn't learn that much when they were young. Find a mentor, someone who could take this kid out for a piece of pizza or something and schmooze with him. Let him open him up. Give him the hearts. We have to work on it. This has to be part of the problem with this is that you can't give a mark on a report card on about does little Yankee feel close connected to the Eibishter? What are you going to say? There's no test. There's no possibility of. So we just don't put it on. There's nothing to talk about. So kid comes home with a report card of all the nice marks. He's got Gemara, Mishnah. That's as best as we could do. But that's not that's not what we're talking about here. How's he going to get this? Just as we talk about food, about clothing, about friends, we have to add a new topic to the conversations we have with our children. And that is, what is the purpose of our lives? Sounds very big, you could do it in a way, each child at their moment, when he's mature enough to understand. I've seen kleine Kinderlich coming out of Cheder, they talk so sweetly about Kaviyuch Daibishter and their sweet little voices. They're open. And this comes from homes that are living this. You can get children to start thinking about vital topics, and they'll automatically be involved with a different set of values. And they'll begin to care about the meaning of what it is to be a Yid and what it means to be living. And at 14, 15 years old, they could hear this. Someone, someone approached me with a problem. I said that this child needs desperately a mentor. He needs a guy who's going to go with him and speak to him at his level and open up his heart. He needs a friend who understands. The Bnei Yisachar writes at the time before the Mashiach, the only way the Jews will survive is through good friends who speak and care about what's true. Our kids not getting enough of this. It's up to us. Pesach is the time the kids are going to be home. We have to strive to raise children with an inner spiritual world, with a desire to grow and ever higher. We must develop this in the framework of their home. And with the Eibishter's help, I'm telling you, with the Eibishter's help, you will succeed. The Eibishter's help, we should all see nachas from the unsere Kinder. Now is the time. It's a hard goals, but the children are at home more often than not, and we have to give them the chizik and allow them to speak and allow them to open up their neshamas to you. Kol Tov.